Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees limp into the All-Star break, drop a really terrible series at home against the Chicago Cubs, lose 2 out of 3 there, and there's so many bad things about this series. I mean, you have Jameson Taillon, the former Yankee, coming in here who was terrible with a balloon ERA, comes in with a 2-6 record and absolutely shuts the Yankees down for 8 innings. And then you have, of course, the Sunday game, blowing a 4-1 lead, getting another gem by Domingo Germán, and that just goes to waste. And again, it's a terrible weekend for the Yankees. And even though, yes, they won the middle game there, and you got 2 home runs finally from Stanton, showing a pulse. Again, one of them was a mammoth blast, which we'll get into, but you really don't feel good about that win. I mean, again, it's against a Cubs team that's like 6-7 games under 500, and you have your ace Garrett Cole on the mound. I mean, you kind of have to win that game, so really nothing to feel good about there. So really a terrible weekend series for the Yankees, and this has gotten to the point where they finally had to do something from the front office, and so the news just came down. They released, or they let go, fired, whatever you say, hitting coach Dillon Lawson. I guess someone has to take the blame for this, so he's the one to get his head chopped off. So basically, it doesn't make a difference. No, I'm not one of these people. That's why I'm not always. I always get on the bandwagon of fire Cashman, fire Boone, get rid of the hitting coach. I think these coaches and stuff have very minimal to do with the players. It's the players now. I guess you have to make a change because, again, we've seen since last year and even before that, just a lot of the Yankee hitters going backwards or just staying even keel, not really growing, not really developing, and the list goes on. You got DJ LeMay, who hasn't looked good in 3 years. Josh Donaldson, you can't really knock the guy. I mean, he's been hitting home runs, so you can't say he's been a bust, but again, well below under 200. We've seen Stanton be a 200 hitter. We've seen Gleyber Torres just kind of stay there at a 250 hitter, not really growing. Oswaldo Cabrera hasn't picked up from last season. We figured he would flourish. He's about a 200 hitter, if that. Now, Volpe in the last week or two has been bringing the average up a little bit, but it's like, even if you bring the average up to 220, it's like, is that something to be proud of? Like, no, it's way down there. So just too many of these guys just hitting around 200 and not really progressing. So, I guess you got to make a move, you got to do something. And you see the fact that Hicks was here was terrible. He goes to another organization and whop, bam, boom. They tweak something with the swing, and now, guys are a decent player. It's like, we could be using that in left field right now. So I guess that comes down. So right now the Yankees haven't listed a replacement yet. So again, it could be Mo, Larry, and Curly. It really doesn't matter. I think it's more on the players, but you have to show something to the fans. You have to show something to the players that as the front office, you're frustrated and you got to make a move. So you got to make a move. And this is kind of historic for Cashman. Again, in his tenure as a Yankee GM, he has never fired any coaches mid-season. But I just think it's to a point where you got to do something, because I think this decision even happened probably on Friday night to get blanked 3-0. And that's after, only scoring 1 run the game before against the Baltimore Orioles and getting blown out 14-1 there. So I just think Cashman had enough and you had to make a move. You can't have someone like Stanton hitting 200 and just looking terrible. I mean, even though, yes, they're starting to get up there in age a little bit, 33, 34, but they got to be better than this. And maybe it's something tweaking the swing, but tapping the foot early, whatever it is, you're keeping the feet still, keeping the hands back, whatever it is, there's got to be something to make these guys better, because I just can't believe they're this bad. They got to be a little bit better than this. So let's see if, the new coach comes in, and I'm sure that'll be, person be named during the All-Star break. The team's going to be off for a little bit, and then I'm sure the coach will be there once they get back. Now, Judge, as I kind of guessed he would, is going to stay away from the All-Star festivities, rehab on the toe there. So again, that's the right call. I figured he was going to do that. So looks like Garrett Cole would be the lone Yankee representative, but since he pitched Saturday, I don't know if he's actually going to participate in the game, because they don't want to ruin him and anything. So he might just ride the bench. So you might have really no Yankees active in the All-Star game, and that kind of tells you everything you want to know about this team, which now dropped to 4th place. But believe it or not, if you got no players in the All-Star game, basically playing in the All-Star game, it just tells you about the season. It tells you about this Yankee team right now. Just not a lot of good talent there playing well, and of course, obviously if the Judge was healthy, he'd be in the game. But if you're sending like 4 or 5 guys to the All-Star game, figure, all right, we got a pretty good team, which was the case last season, the Yankees, when they got off to that great start of the first half of the season, they sent like 6 players to the All-Star game. Well, this season, they stink. They're they're like 7 games above 500, but collectively, just look down the lineup, really no one's impressing you, and that's why no one's in the All-Star game. And got some good pitches here and there, but not enough collectively to send over this. So the opening game, now the Yankees finally got Carlos Rodon. He made his debut, and hey, look, he wasn't bad really. He pitched into the 6th, it was all right. But the problem is that Jameson Taillon come here. Again, he signed a 4-year deal with the Cubs, and again, this has been a really disappointing season for him overall. So at that point, Cashman looked like a genius to let him walk, but he comes in here and actually shuts the Yankees down. 8 innings, just gives up 1 hit. And for the entire game, the Yankees is with 2 hits. 1 hit in the 8th against Tyone, and another hit against a reliever in the 9th, and that's it. I mean, there's 2 hits. So that was the game that probably sealed the fate for Dillon Lawson. That's just it's unacceptable. I mean, you can have a single A team suited up there. They'll get more than 2 hits, so that's just terrible there. Now, the Yankees did, again, mention bounce back in the second game with Cole on the mound, and you finally got the sign of life from Stanton. Again, the first home run in the first innings was absolute crush. Probably his best home run as a Yankee, just in terms of just how far it went. It was like 479 feet. It was off the deck there, the facade, all the way up in left field. So an absolute bomb. And again, since the new Yankee Stadium, the way it's designed, it's really hard to get it up there in that triple deck. He just came close to it. Very, very few players have gotten it up there. Now, if it was the old stadium, it would have been definitely up a deck all the way, deep, but it's really hard to do it. So it just shows you how impressive it is because, the new stadium, the way they design it, they have the upper deck wings kind of pulled back a little bit. So the fans aren't really on top of the field as they used to be at the old stadium. So to get it up there is quite impressive. So good shot for him. And then he hit another one, basically one of his Stanton, like little, golf swing flicks where he just flicks his wrist at and goes opposite field, right field there. So again, it's there. I can't believe that he's lost a step. He's not good. Just the way he hit those balls like nothing. So he could be doing this more. So something's wrong. Something's wrong with the team. So let's see if the new hitting coach makes a difference. I don't think so. And the Yankees had enough offense this game. You've got a home run mentioned by Donaldson. And again, Donaldson doesn't do much but home runs. So basically, you can't kill the guy because he's doing something. In fact, you can make the argument he's been more productive because him and Stanton came back that same game against the Dodgers during that series in LA. And since then, Donaldson's been hitting way more home runs than Stanton since coming back and been more effective overall. So I know people have been booing Donaldson, getting on him, and you can. It's fair, but you can't totally knock him because he has at least been hitting home runs. And it was enough for Garrett Cole, pitched into the 8th for the Yankees. And the Yankees take the second game. And then really the third game was the killer, though, because Yankees were up 4-1. You have Domingo Germán pitching a great game. And after 74 pitches, and this is questionable, Boone lifts him. Now, you could say, hey, you took him out too early. Why'd you do that? But again, he threw a lot of pitches in the perfect game there. It takes a lot out of you. The second game, he didn't go as deep because, he wasn't really effective against Baltimore. With the Yankees going to have a few days off, I was okay with Boone going to the bullpen early there because, again, the relievers are going to be off for a whole week. So if you want to kind of give Germán a little bit of rest and then use these relievers who are going to be frozen stiff for a week until they come back on Friday, again, I was okay with Boone making the move there. So even though 74 pitches and Germán was doing good, I was all right. So it brings in Ian Hamilton. Now, what should have been an ending double play, Torres booted it, and we've seen this from Torres. It's been his theme this year. Again, bonehead plays in the field and bonehead plays running on the bases. Rushed to the ball, booted it, and then after that, the Yankee bullpen, which is usually reliable, is completely collapsed. Canely gave up hits. Marinaccio got touched up a little bit. Even former Yankee Mike Tauchman got into the action there, and the Yankees end up blowing this game. But again, they had a 4-1 lead, end up losing 7-4, and just really a gut-wrenching loss there. You almost more bothered by that game than getting shut out 3-0 by Tyone there, because at least, all right, Tyone come in, and Rendon, you're not sure you're going to get in the first game, whatever, but he was decent, okay, fine. But this is a game you had a 4-1 lead, you're at home, it's against a Cubs team that's you're better than, and this is how you end the first half of the season. So really bad loss for the Yankees, and as mentioned before, they dropped down to 4th place. The only saving grace is that Tampa, again, they've been stuttering a little bit. Now, they won their final game against Atlanta, but Atlanta beat them the night before. And again, overall, Tampa hasn't been too great, but the Yankees can't take advantage of it. They should be catching up, but they're not. So they remain 8 games back of the AL East, but really they should be, the way the Yankees have been playing, they should really be about 12 or 13 games back. So they should really count their blessings there. And the Yankees, you look at them, it's not as bad as the Mets, where the Mets 5-6 games under 500 at least. So the Yankees aren't that bad, but this doesn't feel like this is like a team that's, even though they're about 7 games over 500, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like they're barely 500 or under. And again, if Judge doesn't come back, that's probably where they're going to end up more or less. So here at the All-Star break right now, I guess, hopefully it gives Judge a little time to, rest, rehab the toe there. I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon, but again, I'm sure he'll get his work in there. But the Yankees hitters just got to figure a way to, build upon whatever Stanton and others started to do on Saturday there, because they can't let this thing get away. Eventually, Tampa is going to probably turn it on the afterburners a little bit. And even if Judge comes back, if you're looking up 12 games back, it might even get a chance where you're going to be a wild card viable team there. So that's what the Yankees are going to have to do there. So not a good way to end the first half of the season. Very disappointing. It showed a little promise there just really just before Judge injured the toe. It looked like, they're starting to put some things together. You're getting Jake Bowers contributing, Billy McKinney contributing there and whatever. And you figure, Carlos Rendon was just around the corner there. But then Judge has a toe injury, and it's really been all downhill. And, all right, Stan had the good game Saturday, but still, he has to show a lot more of that for me to feel like, hey, you know what? I think they got a shot here. So right now, things aren't looking good in Yankee land. Now, I don't think the Yankees are going to be sellers. I don't think they're going to tear down the team because they just got too much invested with Rendon and Judge and all that. So I still think they're going to do whatever they can to go for it and improve the team, whether it's someone else in the bullpen, whether it's trying to get an outfielder or a left fielder, something like that. But any deal, I think, that would involve Gleyber Torres. I think Cashman is going to try to, if he can move him, I think he would. I think he's definitely going to be in Cashman's crosshairs. Just, you look at the bonehead play against Boston a couple of weeks ago, and of course, even though it benefited the Yankees, he blew a stop sign in the second game against Baltimore there. So this guy's his head's not in the game. And I think if any deal done that would involve Gleyber Torres somehow, I think Cashman would like to ship him out and get him out of here, because I think Cashman, maybe no one's saying it publicly, but he's got to be frustrated with him, as well as Boone. Boone's, again, not going to admit it. He's a player's coach. We know all that. But Gleyber, just too many bonehead plays, whether it's being in the field or on the bases this season, head not in the game. So, if you need to chop someone off just to send a message like that and move him out, I could see Gleyber Torres being moved. He would like to move Donaldson, but he just makes too much money. Unless the Yankees really include a real great prospect, no one's going to take Donaldson off their hands there. So we'll see what the Yankees have in store. So they're going to be off for a few days. This is the All-Star break. As I mentioned, keep your ears open. So there'll be a good episode coming out here on the podcast on Tuesday with a special guest. Can't say what it is right yet. And then maybe I'll try to chime in one or two more times during the break, just a little something special for you podcast subscribers. And then the Yankees are back, opening up the second half of the season in Colorado. And again, as I mentioned in the last episode, this is really a blown opportunity for the Yankees, because Cardinals are a bad team. The Yankees dropped 2 out of 3. Baltimore, they were looking good. They're taking the first 2, but then really almost wasted by then dropping the last 2. And then you have this Cubs team coming in about 7 games under 500, and you lose 2 out of 3 at home in your own ballpark, and you have Tyone shut you down. Again, these are bad teams. The Yankees should be collecting easy wins. Even without Judge, they should be winning these games. And of course, in Colorado, that's a team that's about 20 games under 500. But let's see, watch the Yankees, lose 2 out of 3 there as well. So the Yankees really squandering an easy stretch there of schedule for them. It's just kind of a shame. So that's the episode. We're at the All-Star break. Yankees not looking good. And look, you ask me right now, they might not even be a wild card team, just the way they're playing right now. And if Judge doesn't come back soon, the rest of these guys, I don't know, they're just not getting it done. And now with Dillon Lawson gone and new hitting coach in, don't expect too much. But hey, if someone could magically tweak some of these swings, hey, that's all we can hope for at this point. So we'll catch you next time.